excited to have come to the end of what's been a great year for us at Bethel. So many things that we've accomplished, and it's just been exciting.
It really has been a wonderful year. As always, we're excited about new baptizees, new members of the Kingdom of God, new members of the Bethel family, the births of new babies, and graduations,
right.
all of these wonderful transitions and marriages.
Yeah.
And though it also fills our heart with a little bit of sorrow, we also celebrate the homegoing of some members of this body who are now absent from our presence but present with the Lord. As I think about the things that are new, there's so many, but I'm sort of focused on the first time things. And this seems to have been a year in which I think we've made big strides in reaching out to our neighbors. And that's run the gamut from welcoming a sanctuary guest, a brother from El Salvador who was threatened with deportation after many years of being here, working hard as a citizen, paying his taxes, trying to find a way to become a part of this American family. He's a neighbor that we're proud to have with us. We've also welcomed our neighbors from the residences and homes around here who seem to be coming in greater numbers, as I think we're making more of a reach out, an effort to reach out with music programs, our participation with Jamaica Plain Porch Fest, and other efforts to make it clear that the doors of Bethel are really, really wide open. We've had some first-time things like our Thanksgiving service at the Boston Public Health Center, Engagement Center, for folks struggling with homelessness or substance abuse challenges. And it was just a blessing to be there, to lead worship and to offer a time of prayer.
You loved me through my good. You loved me through my bad. You loved me through my good. And you loved me through my bad, Jesus.
You have to really be careful when you ask somebody how they're doing. You got to really be prepared for whatever the answer is. We're prepared for the pat answer. But people sometimes want to share. They're there in church. They're saying, look, this is how I'm doing, and I'm reaching out. And we have to be ready for that.
It's also exciting to see the ways that we've been able to deepen our relationships with other communities of faith and more collaborative efforts. Again, that's especially with regard to our sanctuary guests, but also with our work with the Greater Boston Interfaith Organization. We also have hosted some things that have involved members of the Muslim congregation. So we're deeply committed to moving beyond our own tradition and joining hands with people of other traditions as well.
A couple of other interesting things, I think, too, are the, I think this may be our first member in a long time elected to public office, Bridget Ray Canada in Newton in the school committee. And we consider her an associate member, even though she lives down in Hartford. Lorna Thomas Farquharson, who was elected to the school committee in her hometown as well. Think about our Athletes Forum. This is the first two this year that have just been stellar successes as we invite young people from all over the community to come in and hear athletes off court talking about their lives, their struggles, their faith, their growing points, their stumbling blocks, how they're working all of that through, and really trying to encourage young people.
What was it like for you coming into the league last year as a youngster and being around so many superstars?
That's a great question. For me, it was a reality check. I thought I've always been one of the best players, if not the best player on my team coming in. And I came in, and there was a lot of guys who were they were better than me. And it's tough for me to admit that. I'm a prideful dude, and but in reality, like Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Al Horford, all of those guys are perennial all-stars and have been playing basketball with the best for years. So I had a lot to learn. I had to humble myself, to be honest.
All right, thank you. Your question?
It's on so many levels been first. Our first, I think, intern actually, Reverend Shakira Sanchez Collins, who came to us as part of her medical training to look at what's going on at Bethel. Our first trip as a church to the Gardner Museum as part of their exhibition of the Virgin Mary and the panel that Pastor Glory was a part of, but also our participating in a tour and getting a chance through the creativity ministry to see the artistic representation of worship and adoration. So it's been a phenomenal year in so many wonderful ways.
And I certainly want to highlight the great accomplishments of the women's ministry. This year we relaunched our significant women's group, and there are now some 50 women who are working in small groups to identify their missions and to then position themselves to actually accomplish those missions. Very excited about our Shatter the Silence significant women group. This is 12 of us who are very much focused on sexual victimization, especially as it involves women, and especially looking at some of the ways of thinking and doing the behaviors in the culture that undergird sexual victimization. So especially in light of the international response to the hashtag #MeToo campaign, we're looking forward to looking at that as well. And then the Sunday school class, which has had a great attendance, led by Angeline Thompson. We're using some of the work of Brene Brown, but especially thinking about what do we need to do to come out of our caves, like Lazarus, who was in the cave. What caves have we put ourselves in, and how are we making our way out of those caves, and then staying out of those caves? So some very exciting work there as well.
Last but by no means least, first full year under the leadership of Sister Kalia Hamlet-Murray of our Institute for Social Justice, which is just doing phenomenal work at West Roxbury High School, at Jeremiah Burke High School, and we continue to have our partnership with English High School right down the street.
During the school year, Generation Excel works in high schools. This year we have residency at the Jeremiah E. Burke High School, where we seek to disrupt the negative narrative associated with inner city youth and create a space where they redefine their future. Through our peer mediation, wellness, expressive therapy, counseling, and goal setting, students acquire the skills to heal, regulate, define, and celebrate self.
And we've seen some incredible flowering in the worship arts this past year, cantatas and conferences, and more frequent engagement of our dance ministry and our access ministry and creativity and phenomenal work in drama. So it has just been a great year.
Mary nodded, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. The ox and lamb kept time, rum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. I played my drum for him, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. I played my best for him, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. Oh, then he smiled at me, ba-rum-ba-bum-bum. Me and my drum.
The God that we serve has great things in store for us. He is our Father and He loves us. And because we know He loves us, we can expect what He has for us. We can expect great things. Come on, say, I know the plans that I have for you. Saith the Lord. Saith the Lord. And I know.
As we look forward to 2018, There's so much that we want to continue to do. We want to continue to build on all of the things we talked about in 2017. But I think the three areas we're going to be particularly focused on are, the first, our Legacy Initiative, which of course began in 2017. And this first phase of it has just gone wonderfully because of the generous and sacrificial giving of the people of Bethel. We're looking, as we come into the second year, to continue that work of getting Bethel into a place where it's debt-free. It has a good reserve of funds for any emergencies that might arise. And it's done this kind of final phase of upgrades and repairs for a century-old campus. We want to see the same thing happen in the financial discipleship of our individual members. We want to make sure people are in a place where they have the help and support they need to get on a budget, begin to get debt-free, begin to set aside their own emergency funds, start planning for the season of retirement, start planning for the college tuitions that they have to pay, start planning even for their estate at some point. So in whatever ways we can, we want to make sure that we're supporting the financial discipleship, financial stewardship of the individual members and families of Bethel. Second thing that we're really excited about is that next year will be our 30th anniversary as a church. It's hard to believe, but 30 years ago there were just 5 of us sitting around a dining room table. And by God's grace, here we are.
We gathered for Bethel's first worship services at our home in Roxbury. And it was there that we learned that the dining room table can be a wonderful podium. That the piano can be out in the hallway. That Sister Ruth can play even when she can't see the congregation. And that as a pastor, it's not a good idea to make a high point at the same time that the children have gone to the bathroom next to the dining room. They have a bad habit of flushing the toilet just when you're about to get to your climax.
And then when the congregation grew, we expanded into our living room. And so Pastor Ray would preach from that end of the room, and then we would gather and worship here on chairs. And then when we grew still further, we moved into our front room, which is in here, which was also my favorite room in the house. But at the time, it wasn't such a favorite room. It was always very cold, and it was colored bright orange, and we didn't have storm windows, so the people who got here late would have to sit in this area by the storm windows, and they would be freezing by the time the service was over. So these were our humble beginnings.
We're going to work hard on making sure that in every way we can, we extend the invitation to friends, neighbors, family members, to let them know that this is a community whose arms and hearts are open wide. We want them to join. We want them to be a part of the Bethel family. So we're going to be working on that in this coming year.